Hello everyone, welcome to Court with Krissy. You better buckle up, it's time for some traffic court. On today's docket, 3 cases from 3 different courts. It starts good, gets bad, ends worse. I hope you like it. Court with Krissy is now in session.
Mr. Marinchek, would you like to say anything before we begin? Okay. Ms. Richter, you may call your first witness.
Officer Fife.
Right up here to the witness stand, please. You'll see some steps off to your left. Go up those steps, remain standing, and raise your right hand. Solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you should give in this case now being heard should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God, or under the penalty of perjury.
Yes.
Have a seat. State your full name, spell your last name,
Deidre Fife, F-I-F-E.
and state your business address.
Johnstown Police Department, 599 South Main Street, Johnstown, Ohio, 43031.
Thank you.
May I proceed?
Thank you. Officer Fife, how long have you been employed as an officer with the Johnstown Police Department?
A little over 3 years.
And can you briefly describe your duties and responsibilities as an officer with Johnstown Police Department?
We respond to calls for service, emergency, non-emergency, traffic, patrol, proactive patrol, investigations.
And briefly describe what the background you have education-wise that allows you to be a Johnstown police officer.
Well, I completed the basic training academy
Okay.
and successfully, and completed all the requirements by the state.
Were you working on August 30th of 2024?
Yes, I was.
What were you wearing that day?
Uniform of the day, which consists of a Class B uniform and an outer carrier.
Similar to the one you have on now.
Similar, except with an outer carrier instead.
And describe the vehicle you were driving that day.
I was in Cruiser 3.
Is that a marked
It's
vehicle?
yes, it is. It's a marked unit with a
Is-
light bar and siren.
Visible working light bar on top?
Yes.
Was part of your general duties and responsibilities on August 30th of 2024 traffic enforcement?
Yes.
Were you and or your cruiser equipped with recording equipment that day?
Yes, it was.
And was your body cam activated in this case?
Yes.
During the course of your duties on August 30th of 2024, did you have cause to have contact with an individual that later became known to you as Jonathan Marinchek?
Yes, I did. Excuse me.
And can you describe the circumstances of how you came in contact with him?
I was sitting stationary watching traffic, and his vehicle drove by. I noted loud exhaust, like a rapid acceleration, a loud exhaust. So I initiated a traffic stop.
Do you recall what type of vehicle the defendant was driving?
Yes, it was a maroon or colored Corvette.
And where were you sitting stationary when you first noticed the loud exhaust, the crackling exhaust?
I was at a credit union or a bank, sitting stationary facing on West Coshocton near Bigelow.
Is that the city of Johnstown?
It is.
Licking County?
Yes.
State of Ohio?
Yes.
Once you initiated the traffic stop, did you keep visual contact with the vehicle until it was stopped?
I did.
Your Honor, I'm going to play the body cam.
Okay.
It's been, for purposes of the record, it's been marked as State's Exhibit 1.
910-75162.
Dispatch was
Pulled into the parking lot of 670 West Coshocton with red Corvette occupied by at least one. Hi there.
hello.
So the reason I pulled you over is because we have an ordinance here in Johnstown, exhaust, crackling exhaust. Or you're not aware of that? Okay, that's okay. So when I was sitting right there, you gunned it and made it crackle extra just now.
Well,
You did it yesterday twice.
I just gave it gas. I didn't go
Okay.
full.
Well, we have an ordinance for crackling exhaust. Do you have your license and proof of insurance, please?
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Insurance on it.
Okay, great. Where you headed? What's that?
Into town, Columbus.
Into Columbus? Where you coming from, home?
Where is my insurance? Might take me a second to find it.
Well, I'll let you look for that, and I'll be back in a few minutes, okay?
When you made contact with the driver of the vehicle and you asked for his license, is that when he became known to you as Jonathan Marichek?
Yes,
And do you see Mr. Marichek in the courtroom today?
I do. He's wearing a brown jacket and black t-shirt.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant, Jonathan Marichek.
Yes, show.
Okay. At this point in time, what are you doing in Officer 5?
I'm preparing to write a citation
For what?
for loud exhaust.
Your Honor, just for ease of time, I'm gonna fast forward to.
I think the video stays out of sync.
I don't know that I can fast forward it.
Oh, okay.
That's the problem. I tried earlier.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Find it?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
May I ask what was taking so long? If I don't
I
mind.
was writing a citation.
Oh, okay. How's your arm doing?
It's fine, thank you. See here. Okay, November 24th. Good, thank you. Is the address on your license current?
Yep.
And, okay. And what's your phone number?
I'm not giving it to
Sorry?
you. I'm not giving it
Yeah, so it's on the part of the citation. So you're saying you're using to give your phone number on the citation?
to you. Yeah.
Okay. So this is your information, your vehicle. Let me go here. That's for the loud exhaust. It's a minor misdemeanor. The fine is $129. You can choose to pay that, which the information is on the back of your copy. And then if you want to contest it, you can come to court, which will be the 9th of September at
Is that here in
6:30 p.m.
Johnstown?
So like I was saying, the 9th of September at 6:30 p.m. in the Mayor's Court in Johnstown, yes, here in our Mayor's Court, 599 South Main Street. Okay?
So
then you sign.
what's a loud exhaust? That makes no fucking sense.
So do you hear this right now?
Yeah.
And then when you hit the gas and it makes that crackling,
It doesn't crack.
Loud.
It doesn't crack.
okay, good. So that's loud exhaust.
How is that loud exhaust? That's a normal car. It's not a. It's a sports car.
This is the loud exhaust. So if you want to contest it, you can.
So
totally come to court.
what's the ordinance? What's considered loud? Is there a decibel meter? Is there like what? Is it just you say oh it's loud?
So like I said, if you'd like to contest this, you can totally come to court again on the 9th of September at 6:30 p.m. if you'd like to contest that and find out
9th
in
of
court.
September.
Yep, September 9th, 6:30 p.m.
See you there.
So if you sign right there, it's not an admission of guilt. It's that I
I'm not
explain that, and I'm
signing.
going to
Just give me
get.
the. I don't give a shit. I just gotta go.
So actually, okay.
I'll be there. Hopefully you'll be there because this is ridiculous. I can't even drive
Well,
a car.
their phone number is on the back of your citation. If you cannot make your court date and you know that, then I'd call the clerk and reschedule your date.
I'll be
Okay.
there.
All right. Do you want your license back? Good night.
Officer 5, is that a true and accurate recording of your interaction with the defendant, Jonathan Marichek, on August 30th, 2024?
Yes, it is.
And just so we're clear, when you first noticed him, you said you were sitting stationary.
Yes.
And when you first heard the vehicle, did it get louder once he accelerated? Could you explain how in your narrative, you talk about that? Can you tell the court what happened?
So I had my windows down, and what drew my attention was hearing. It was like an accelerated, and it got like an acceleration, and it got louder and crackled.
Similar to what you heard after the end of the traffic stop when he again accelerated quickly and it got loud and crackling?
Yes.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Marinchak, do you have any questions for the officer?
No.
You may step down.
Your Honor, no other evidence except for to seek to admit Exhibit 1.
Okay. Any objection to the video, Mr. Marinchak?
No.
On to Exhibit 1. Mr. Marinchak, would you like to testify today?
Yes.
Okay.
Right up there to the witness stand. Remain standing, raise your right hand. Do solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you should give in this case now being heard should be true, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
Yes, sir.
Have a seat. State your full name, spell your last name.
Jonathan Marinchek, Marinchek.
State your full home address.
You want to tell me what happened?
Yes, Your Honor. So it was, I believe, a Friday night, August 30th. I was driving into Columbus on 62. Was coming down a hill, started to go up the hill. I never was speeding, was driving the posted speed limit, under the posted speed limit, which was 35 miles per hour. Was driving normal, and then you saw the video where traffic stop was initiated. I would like to read the statute on what I was charged for. It is 331.36, squealing tires, peeling, cracking, exhaust noise. No person shall unnecessarily race the motor of any vehicle, and no person shall operate any motor vehicle except in emergency, in such a manner that the vehicle is so rapidly accelerated or started from a stop position that the exhaust emits a loud cracking or chattering noise, and this is the point that I want to highlight, unusual to its normal operation, or whereby the tires of such vehicle squeal or leave tire marks on the roadway, commonly called peeling. No point in my interaction had I been from a stop and peeled off or rapidly accelerated hard. As you saw from the video, the car is a sports car, and it is a Corvette. It does have a legal full exhaust system. I had it state inspected when I bought it. The car is a sports car, so it's louder than a normal vehicle. However, the statute says unusual to its normal operation. During the entire encounter, I was operating the vehicle normal. And wasn't rapidly accelerating, wasn't squealing tires. It was normal.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to testify about today?
No, that's it.
Ms. Richter, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. You may step down. Any other evidence you'd like to present today, Mr. Marinchak?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Ms. Richter, anything in closing?
Your Honor, thank you. You heard the testimony of Officer Fife. She testified under oath that she heard the vehicle first, that she then observed, and then she also observed the vehicle accelerate and that the exhaust got louder. Thankfully, to Mr. Maynard's actions that day during the encounter with Officer Fife, you hear that when he does accelerate, that the exhaust gets louder. Even though it is a loud exhaust, it gets louder than when he is accelerating. We believe that we proved the case beyond a reasonable doubt, and we'd ask you to find the defendant guilty.
Okay, so there's several elements in this ordinance. I think the first is that rapidly accelerating or started from a stop position. So obviously not, he wasn't stopped according to the testimony. Or there was no testimony to that, right? So he rapidly accelerated and emitted a loud crackling or chattering noise, which was unusual to its operation.
May I say something, Your Honor?
Just, you'll have a chance, just a second. I'm asking Ms. Richter to address those elements.
Yeah, Sharon, the testimony of Officer 5 is she was sitting stationary and she first heard the exhaust, which you saw from the video is loud. And then when she looked up and saw the vehicle, it rapidly accelerated in front of her, which caused the loud crackling, which is when she initiated the traffic stop.
Okay. And as to the unusual to its normal operation?
Well, you heard the exhaust is loud, but when you got an example of it, even though that's not what she observed, when you saw, you see it gets louder when he, again, accelerated out of the parking lot.
Okay.
Quite angrily.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Marinchik.
Yeah, well, they're trying to say it rapidly accelerated. Simply not true at all. If I were to rapidly accelerate that vehicle, I would be way over the speed limit and I would be here for a different charge. I drove the car in its normal occupancy. So yes, obviously if you drive a car and you go forward, which I was going up a hill, I was coming down a hill and then started to go up a hill. So yes, I obviously gave it gas, but it was not a rapid acceleration. It was everything in its normal use. At no point did I rapidly accelerate. If I did, I'd be here for a speeding charge or something else. The point I would like to make is I drove the car all times in a normal way. That's the main point, because that's where the statute says it doesn't matter unusual to its normal way. The car was being driven in its normal way through the entire video, even when I left the parking lot. It's a manual, you know, so I shift the gears, but I at no point rapidly accelerated. If I did it, the tires would peel. If I were to rapidly accelerate the car, the tires would spin. No point in the video shows that. I was driving the car in its normal way.
Thank you.
And can I say one more thing?
Go ahead.
And what I actually initiated the poll. What I initiated the poll over for, do they have video of that, of what the initial pullover was for?
I don't know. Anything else you'd like to say? Okay. Based on the evidence presented today, I'll find you not guilty. Anything else today?
No, Your
Questions?
Honor.
All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, Trooper Peterson, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I apologize for the technical difficulties.
No worries. Mr. Kane, it has been explained what's going to happen, so I would ask that you both please raise your right hand. And you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So this is, and you're welcome to lower your hand. This is in case number X 4185400, and it alleges that Cody Kane was speeding 60 and a 55. Trooper Peterson, would you begin, please?
Yes, ma'am. On 4/12 of 23, at approximately 21:55 hours, myself and Trooper Wallerman were sitting along M113 near Town Line Road, that's between Hodge Road, actually just west of Hodge Road. I was operating stationary radar when a vehicle approached me from behind at a high rate of speed. It was the only vehicle on the roadway at the time. When I activated the radar, I got a good sound and tones, 75 miles an hour. As the vehicle passed me, I hit the front radar, and the vehicle was slowing down to about 70, 65, somewhere in there. I pulled out, activated my emergency lights. Traffic stop was conducted without any incident. I made contact with Mr. Kane, advised him regarding the stop. He advised that he was heading to a friend's house. He said that he realized he was speeding once he passed me, and then he immediately slowed down. He knew that the speed limit was 55. He didn't know exactly what his speed was, and he advised me that he received a ticket, I think earlier in the week or a couple weeks prior. So I went back and I issued him citation 418-5400, and I only wrote him for 5 over instead of the 20 over. I am radar certified. The radar unit was checked prior to my shift and after my shift. It was in good working order. The vehicle was in target range of the radar unit. There were no other vehicles. There's nothing there to interfere with that radar unit. And I believe that's all I have for you, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Kane,
Yes.
what do you recall?
There was 2 or 3 vehicles in front of me and at least 1 or 2 behind me. There was actually pretty steady traffic. It was nighttime. I've been having issues with my car, something about it won't, I don't know, it's like putting weird and it feels like it's going to shut down. I don't know, it's really weird. Sometimes it does that, sometimes it runs fine. I just bought the car. I wish I didn't buy it because it's brought me nothing but issues. And it's like cops like to pull me over for some reason. And every time I get pulled over, they keep asking me if I have anything in the vehicle, and I tell them they can search it. That I don't. They don't ever search it. Yeah, my speedometer is 5 or 10 miles per hour off. I'm not really sure. I have to run Google Maps just to make sure I'm doing the speed limit.
Okay, so what's your defense in this case?
I didn't think I was speeding. That's all. And there was vehicles in front of me and behind me, so I don't know how. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Was the officer able to immediately pull out in behind you to affect the traffic stop?
No, he let 1 or 2 cars go by before he pulled out. Even though he claims there was no traffic whatsoever.
Magistrate Rogers, I have the entire thing on in-car camera. Mr. Kane is confused. The vehicles in front of him or behind him. When I got in behind him, there were vehicles approaching from the east, 4 or 5, but those vehicles were not in range of radar or even remotely close to Mr. Kane when I activated my radar. I have the video keyed up. I don't know how to play it over Zoom, but I could send it to you via email if you needed to review it, ma'am.
I don't want to see it if Mr. Kane can't see it, so.
Yes, ma'am.
No worries. Mr. Kane, other than you didn't think you were speeding, and you've been pulled over a number of times, do you have any evidence as to how fast you were traveling?
63 miles an hour. I got pulled over 1 other time. That's it. So.
Well, you were the one who said, cops keep pulling me over.
Yeah, I
was just going on your testimony.
Been pulled over 1 other time since I've gotten this car. It is a Lincoln Continental. It is very clean. And so I know what they assume. They assume that I'm a drug dealer out on the streets, and I'm not. And so they target me because it's a Lincoln.
Okay.
Which I would have never bought the car.
Okay, and you said that you thought you were traveling about 63 miles an hour. Is that what you said?
Yep. I thought 5 over 55 is a normal speed limit, but I guess not. I've now learned that. It's crazy.
But the ticket was issued for 60 and a 55, and that's the speed that you thought you were going.
I thought 5 miles per hour over 55 is fine. That's what I've been told before. So, but I guess not. I guess I'm wrong.
Okay. Now, there isn't anything in the law that says you can go 1 mile over the posted speed limit, so it sounds like you've been told wrong. It's worrisome too that you have to use your, I think you said Google Map.
Yeah, I really got lemoned with this car. I bought it from a dealer and he didn't let me test drive it before I bought it, and that raised a red flag. I shouldn't have bought it right from the rip, but I needed a car and I kind of had to buy it.
Even though the vehicle might have a broken speedometer, it's your responsibility to make sure that you are lawful in your travels. My suggestion would be that you go really slow. At least you wouldn't get tickets then, right?
Too slow and you go 5 under, then you'll get pulled over for doing 5 under.
I don't believe that that's true.
I
In any event.
watch cops, so my brother's a law enforcement officer as well, so I know the game.
There's no game here. You said you were going 60 to 63 miles an hour. You were ticketed for 60 and a 55.
Yeah,
You admitted that you're responsible. I'm going to find that you're responsible. The fines and costs are $120, and it's on you.
And he asked me several times if I had anything in the vehicle, and I told him he could search it, and he didn't want to search it. So if he's asking me several times if he can search my car, why is that? It's because I'm driving a Lincoln Continental, correct?
I don't have any idea, sir. We're here for the speeding ticket. You admitted that you were traveling over the posted speed limit. The fines and costs are $120. It's due within 10 days from today, and you are all set. Thank you very much.
All right, very good. Well, this is the time and place for an informal hearing on citation number 23-95096. We have both parties here. The purpose of this is for me to determine if you're responsible or not responsible, Mr. Lewis. So what I'll do is swear both of you in. And once we accomplish that, we'll start with plaintiff, Deputy Martin, giving me his side of the facts. And then when he concludes, it will be your opportunity to give me your side of the facts. If you have questions for each other, please don't interrupt one another while you're talking, and potentially just ask the questions through me. Once all of the testimony is concluded, I'll refer to my notes and render a decision. It's based completely on preponderance of the evidence, which quite literally is a tipping of the scales. I just have to be swayed 51% of the way one way. So with that being said, if each of you would please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give me is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Do.
Oh, Mr. Lewis, you're muted.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. That's okay. Thank you for unmuting. All right. Deputy Martin, would you please begin?
On the May 16th, 23, at 3 a.m. in the morning, I observed Mr. Lewis stopped on the side of the road near Lake of the Woods Road. When I drove by Mr. Lewis' vehicle, it appeared he was like hunched over the wheel. So I turned around and conducted basically a motor assist traffic stop. I walked up to the passenger side of the window, Mr. Lewis's vehicle, asked him if everything was all right. While speaking with Mr. Lewis, he stated that he was looking for directions. He is from East Jordan and he was looking for directions to get back towards East Jordan. Talking further with Mr. Lewis, he just seemed like he was confused and possibly under the influence. While I was speaking with Mr. Lewis, I observed marijuana on a tray in the front seat of the vehicle. I could smell the odor of intoxicant from Mr. Lewis. So I asked Mr. Lewis to step out of his vehicle, brought him back to the front of my vehicle, performed a Terry pat on him, didn't discover any weapons. Started to perform the standard field sobriety test on Mr. Lewis. Mr. Lewis did a couple passes at HGN and refused to continue on with standard field sobriety test. So I offered Mr. Lewis PBT multiple times and explained, if he blew under the legal limit, he would have been able to go home. Mr. Lewis refused, so I went back. I placed Mr. Lewis and detained him. I went back to my car, grabbed my DI 177, and at that time I read Mr. Lewis his standard PBT rights and advised him in Hampshire County it's a $205 citation. And Mr. Lewis still refused. In the process, Mr. Lewis refused the DI 177, and I contacted you for a search warrant and obtained a blood draw.
Okay. Thank you, Deputy. And Mr. Lewis, I know you're in the comfort of your home, but if you would please refrain from smoking. We are in my courtroom.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, Mr. Lewis, would you please give me your side of the facts?
I was called to help a buddy while I was in bed. I went to, it was not Harbor Springs, but over Quaden. It's a boat launch area where they do docks and stuff. And I picked up Michael Blanton, who is also currently in rehab for drinking. He was drinking in the vehicle on the way from there to Mansalona, where I dropped him off at. He told me to go down to the end of his road and take a right, and it would take me into Bel Air. I went down his road, took a right, and I ended up on a dirt road. So I pulled over on the side of the road where it was pavement, and I was currently in the park position looking at my phone for directions, because you're not allowed to operate your vehicle and cell phone at the same time. I did apply to part of the roadside test because the lights, like I've said, because of my seizures when it comes to lights and things like that, I haven't had an episode in a little over 2 years, which then I applied for my license and got it. Because you have to have over a year and a half seizure free to obtain your license. Like officer said, it was 3 something in the morning. I was up since 5:30 when I had to be to work at 6. I did refuse a roadside PBT. I did not refuse the DMT, the data master, at the jail. I did tell him if he wanted to draw my blood, he would have to have a search warrant, which is within my legal rights, even in the civil department that I've been reading on. But other than that, I mean, I know you can smell alcohol. I just had an alcoholic in my vehicle. And yes, I did have a tray of marijuana that was sitting, and it wasn't on the center console, it was underneath the center console, out of reach of the driver. And I did do a PBT while I was incarcerated in the jail upon arrival, before I was searched or booked into the holding cell, drunk tank. And I also told them that I was never served with a warrant. I did submit willingly to my blood test and at the hospital, and I submitted willingly to a PBT at the police station. I did refuse on the roadside DUI to mental health and previous broken femur, because walking a straight line, even in the morning when I'm wide awake, with the way my leg is and the way my boots are, it's not happening. I was in a motorcycle accident when I was 22, and I was in a coma for almost 2.5 months.
Okay, does that conclude your testimony, sir?
Yes, it does, Your Honor.
Okay. Deputy Martin, do you have anything to add or comment
The only
on?
thing I have is Mr. Lewis was offered multiple times roadside. It's on body cam. It's on Deputy Plum's body cam also. And when I offered Mr. Lewis a breath test roadside, it's on body cam. He refused it. I've reviewed it all before this hearing.
Okay,
He was
thank
offered a
you.
PBT at the jail, and that's for medical purposes only. I don't know the results of that PBT.
Okay, Mr. Lewis, I was listening quite intently to everything you were saying, and during part of your testimony, you say you admit that you did refuse a PBT roadside.
Yes, I did refuse a personal breathalyzer test on the roadside. I did not refuse the data master system at the jail.
Okay. Well, given the fact that you admit that you refused the PBT roadside, I do find you responsible. There are some fines and costs associated with this. I will be sending some paperwork to you. Is your mailing address this Loop Road address?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Okay. I appreciate you both taking part in this. Do you have any questions at this time?
I do not.
My only
Okay,
question.
thank you.
I don't really have figured out how to phrase it or where I'm trying to find what I've seen. Well, in the legal paperwork for Michigan, I was reading about, it said that you can refuse the roadside test. As a Michigan licensed driver, you are currently alcohol blood. But you can't refuse a data master or whatever it is. Please frequently ask someone they have stopped and suspicion of driving while intoxicated to complete a PBT, since this test helps to calibrate their suspicions. You are free to politely decline and not required to agree. By declining the PBT, you stop the gathering of data and can't. Says basically you can be arrested, but it's not against a civil infraction to refuse a PBT. You'll have to pay some small fines, but if the purpose of the roadside breath test is unitedly to establish probable cause for an arrest. So I don't know if I'm reading this wrong or what I'm not understanding, but I did one at the jail. Wouldn't that be the master database thing?
So I don't have any paperwork on the data master. I do have a copy of the blood search warrant. And you did admit to me that you refused the roadside PBT, which is the basis for the civil infraction. You
Okay.
are permitted to seek to call the court clerk and ask that this go to a formal hearing if you don't agree with what my decision is.
Okay.
So you do have that right if you want to call and find out what you need to do. But I do find you responsible, and I'll send this paperwork out to the address. Thank you.
All right. Question. I have tried to get my ID, and they're saying because my license is suspended that I can't receive my ID. So how do I go about that?
It from the Secretary of State or from the Sheriff's Office?
From the Secretary of State, man.
Okay, so so the Secretary of State is a completely different entity than the district
Okay.
court.
All right.
So you'll have to check with them.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Bye now.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Deputy. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, you too.